Apparently, discussing looting now makes you a racist.
In advance of the storm's arrival, the territory's governor ordered the National Guard to prepare for the coming catastrophe by suppressing certain constitutional rights. In an executive order issued on Tuesday, Governor Kenneth Mapp empowered the Guard to seize guns and ammunition from citizens, all to maintain public order after the storm.
And as we were heading to that location, that's where we caught these looters in progress, just filtering in and out of that broken window. And then shortly thereafter, it was the Foot Locker directly across the street on Sunrise and Powerline, where we saw more people stealing shoeboxes and among other items.
Irma bringing out the worst in some people, unfortunately. Here we see some, well, now they're criminals down in Miami looting. They're stealing boxes of shoes from this Foot Locker store. So, you know, we see Steve Shapiro showing you how bad it is outside. And these people want to use this as an opportunity to commit crimes. They're going in the back door of a Foot Locker, walking out with bags and bags of shoes and loading them into their vehicle. Very unfortunate to see this.
Yeah, well, I mean, karma is a really bad thing, so hopefully nothing drops out of the sky on top of them while they're trying to get away.
The situation got violent in St. Martin, where armed looters stormed a resort.
We heard that, you know, that people were coming into different resorts posing as, you know, guests and stealing people's jewelry and belongings. It wasn't even just taking, you know, water and food. It was just really scary.
I'm fascinated by the excuses for it that you're hearing from the left and many in the news media who won't cover this and who basically attack anyone who notes that it's wrong to steal during a time of crisis. Why do you think the left makes excuses for this so aggressively?
Apparently, unbeknownst to me, my family, and anyone who knows me, discussing looting now makes you a racist, which not unusual at all from the left, by the way. Pretty much everything makes you a racist, which has rendered the term nearly meaningless in polite political discourse anymore. You know, they have this idea, you know, and Thomas Sowell's done great work on this, you know, in the Vision of the Anointed in some of his books, that it's really not the criminal's fault. Tucker, it's society's fault. And if we just organized ourselves a little better, we were a little more socialist and communist, and we were better planners, we wouldn't have this problem. So it's really not the looters' fault. It's the evil business owners' fault for not giving away the sneakers before the storm hit. So it's twofold.
They hate the society, they hate the civilization, and so they're constantly rooting for the people who seek to destroy it. I mean, I don't know how you can't, I don't want to reach that conclusion, but how could you root for, by the way, these are not, I think all of us are sympathetic to the mom without diapers who goes and helps herself to some. I mean, in a moment of crisis, I get it. But these are people driving new cars with gold chains, stealing shoes. There's literally no excuse for that. And yet, we're not supposed to say anything because it's bad to note it. I mean, if you take that position, you're rooting against our society.
Yeah, and not only that, the convenient out they use by painting everybody with the most disgusting, by the way, outside of child molester and murderer. Is there anything worse to call someone than a racist? By using that, it's their effort to distract away and to constantly, as I always say, the liberals don't run on anything. All they have is making you believe that conservatives hate whatever identity group it is. So by painting everybody as blanket racist, this is what they think is going to work for them. They don't have anything else.
This morning, this young aspiring pastor charged with murdering his Sunday school teacher wife.
I think I killed my... What do you mean by that? What happened?
28-year-old Matthew Phelps arrested after a detailed and disturbing call to 911 early Friday morning.
I had a dream, and then I turned on the lights and she's dead on the floor. How?
Between labored breaths and alarming admission.
I have blood all over me, and there's a bloody knife on the bed, and I think I did it. I can't believe this.
A disoriented sounding caller telling the dispatcher he took cough medicine to sleep the night before.
What medicine did you take? I took horse eating. I know it can make you feel good, so a lot of times I can't sleep at night. She's not moving. Oh my God. He didn't deserve this.
Just after 1:15 a.m., officers arriving at the couple's Raleigh townhome, discovering 29-year-old Lauren Phelps with multiple stab wounds.
Overseas, Australians begin a nationwide vote on same-sex marriage today. The postal vote involves sending ballots to households throughout the country. The process is expected to take 2 months. The question on the ballot: should the law be changed to allow same-sex couples to marry? The postal vote is voluntary and not binding on politicians, but it could lead to greater support in Parliament for legalizing same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage advocates opposed the postal vote, saying it's unnecessary. Traditional marriage supporters say it's important to spark a national debate over the effect that legalizing same-sex marriage will have on freedom of speech and religion. The votes should be tallied by November 15th.
Normally, handcuffs mean the story's over. But shoplifting suspect Tasha Sponsler is just getting started, quietly slipping free, diving to the front seat of this police unit. God dang! And speeding away. The 23-minute chase Saturday through Lufkin, Texas, pushing 100 miles per hour. Officers coming head-on swerve out of the way. Sponsler swerves too, avoiding these spike strips. But finally knocked off the road. Guns drawn. Police smashed the window to get her out. The opening between the front and the back seats in these patrol units is only about 12 inches, but even so, the Lufkin police are making a change. Releasing this video, installing new barriers, and showing a sense of humor. #FoolMeOnce.
What was once confined to science fiction movies
This may be a little uncomfortable. Just implanted a radium diode. They're the access codes to your drop spot.
is now reality for some.
I can pay, open doors, and have my business card in there as well.
These Aussies say they're being microchipped to simplify their lives.
Which will connect to my work pass, which will allow me access to my office, to use the printer, to use the scanner.
We won't need any ID cards, we won't need any PIN codes, access cards or anything, so we can live a much sort of freer life.
The microchip is the size of a grain of rice and the procedure takes just 15 minutes. First, the area is sterilised, then the location marked. The chip is then placed inside a hollow needle and inserted underneath the skin. Data from your bank card, payment method, building swipe, LinkedIn profile or medical history is cloned onto the chip, which is implanted in the hand. Using the same technology as tap and pay cards, the chip can then be used to open security doors, pay for a coffee, use public transport and access information you've programmed onto the chip. This Perth body modification artists already embrace the trend.
I have a business card on one I have just for funny images to load up on people's phones randomly, and one of them I use for being able to operate and open a door lock. We'll turn off the immobiliser. 32-year-old Joeltron has even built a motorbike which can be immobilised just by the touch of his hand. Easy as that.
The microchip also has the potential to save lives. Personal medical data can be loaded onto the device like blood type and allergies and accessed in emergencies.
For those concerned about privacy, the user can control what data is made available. Visa says it's possible for any device to become enabled for payments, but the chip would need to meet Visa's security standards and be issued by a bank. But our laws haven't kept up with the new technology. A man in Sydney recently copped a fine after implanting his transport chip in his hand. While microchipping may be a step too far for some big businesses are already trialling wearable payment technology. Bankwest among those putting the information in wristbands, watches and key rings, with 400 volunteers testing the gadgets right now.
So it has a chip in it, just like your bank card does, and you can go to a merchant terminal, buy your coffee, buy your drink and swipe the device.
Microchipping costs around $300.
The Trump administration is supporting a Colorado baker who declined to make a cake for a same-sex wedding. The Department of Justice has filed a brief on behalf of Jack Phillips in his upcoming Supreme Court case, Masterpiece Cake Shop versus the Colorado Civil Rights Commission. 86 members of Congress have also filed a brief in support of Phillips. The baker says his religious beliefs on marriage prevented him from making the cake.
Every American should be free to choose which art they will create and which art they won't create, without fear of unjustly being punished by the government.
A government that tells you what you can't say is bad enough. But a government that tells you what you must say and what you must do and punishes you if you don't is frightening. That kind of state power should scare all of us.